of May the 11th, 2022. Happy spring. I'm out where it's been and has been about 90 degrees for the last few days. So, and today is another hot one. So that's where we are, and we're off and going. Any comments, looking at our minutes of last meeting of April 13th, any comments or concerns, edits needed to be addressed? Hearing none, then can I get a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll move.
I'll
make a motion.
Okay, is that Linda?
Yes, it's Linda.
Yes, it's Linda.
Okay, Linda has made the motion for the acceptance. Can I have a second?
Yeah.
Is that, I heard something that faded in and out. I apologize. Is that Shauna?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
thank
seconding.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Shauna. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays? And so we pass on the minutes here. Okay, let's get into, and thank you, ladies, for sending over the licensing renewal, as well as the nice summary update of the investigations that are in-house or on the docket, for lack of a better phrase. From commission members, are there any questions on either one of the, or comments on either one of those topics that were sent to us in yesterday's email, yesterday afternoon? Okay, hearing none.
No.
Okay, is there anything to be added with the, under the legal update of status of new commission appointments?
Hi, good morning. I can say that the deputy commissioner met with Terry, Joe, and me. At the meeting, I provided her with an overview as to the urgency of our need for commission members. From that, she asked for information relative to the ASC, citing of us not having a sufficient number of members on the board or commission, if you will, as well as the letter that you, as the chairman, had presented. I forwarded that information to her. She said that she would bring that to the governor's attention and that she would get back to us as soon as she possibly could. So that's the update that I have.
Okay, thank you for your efforts. We're all
Yes, thank you.
sitting on pins and needles, and I know there's nothing more you can do, and I do thank you for everything you've done, you folks.
And we appreciate the fact that she did ask for the meeting. She was not aware that the ASC, you know, Jenny had indicated, you know, that we need to address this issue with a copy of the ASC report, as well as your letter indicating that you had, you know, asked the commissioner, made the commissioner aware of our needs. She was now up to speed, so to speak, with all that was going on here. Yes.
Do you need me to do anything more to help facilitate
No,
this, or
I
just
think
stand back?
No, I think she has the information that she needs. My understanding from her was that she would, you know, present it to the powers that be, and that she would get back to us. And I want to say that meeting was maybe about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. I'm not sure of the exact date, but yeah. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then.
Yep.
Well, maybe June will be, it's graduation time in the state of Connecticut. Maybe we'll have folks graduating into commission.
We're hopeful.
So
We're hopeful.
there we go.
Thank you.
Any comments from members of the commission on this topic? Or any comments from the public who may, I don't have a screen, so I'm not sure who we have on here today, but hearing none, then we will move on to the next thing. I'm going to hold off, as I said, on the 2 or the 3, excuse me, components here. Let me get into the core stuff, and just bear with me, and I apologize. Are there any issues, concerns, or comments that need to be gone forward with all that have all the AQB approvals on the school and courses? CR 30 hours or for pre-licensing. We have none. If I'm missing it, no more than 18 as per our historical track record on CEs.
Mhm.
If anyone no issues, then can I get a motion to accept the courses?
I'll move to accept.
Motion made.
By Linda.
Second by Linda. Thank you, Linda. Second.
John,
Anyone? John has second. Comments or concerns? Hearing none. Ayes?
aye.
Ayes. Okay, we pass. We move those forward here. All right then. We've taken care of that. The 2024. Excuse me. I'm working it back here. 2022-2024 Connecticut Appraisal Law course. Who would like to, where do we stand and what do we need and all the things that go with that? Go ahead. Under the old business.
All right, so we're working on revising it. Our intern has unfortunately left. He graduated, so he can no longer work. So, but he did as much as he could as far as putting in some graphs and some new slides and updating some of the screens. I am still waiting, John, for your info for what needs to be added for the new statute, reg, whatever that is, about the evaluations, and anyone else that we asked to do some info for us. I don't have anything from anyone. I don't know if you guys want to hold another meeting or you just want Vicky and I to work on it.
I can work on that, but I can have it for the next meeting.
Okay, if you can just, whenever you have it done, you can email it to me. Whatever you have, email it to Terry Jo.
And I think, John, the other thing was, John Galvin, I think the other thing that we were asking is for you to do something on commercial evaluations, because we
Right.
really don't have the expertise on that. So that was something that I definitely would rely on you.
The evaluation.
Yeah, the new
Yes.
regulation regarding evaluation.
Yeah.
All right.
So Jay, I'm not sure how you want to, go forward. If you want to schedule a meeting, maybe next month sometime.
That may be prudent, and following the law and making sure we give the adequate public notice and so forth. You help me out. Is this something that we would want to do? What date is our June meeting? Excuse me. I don't have
June
a
8th.
calendar in front of me here. June
June
8th.
8th.
So we have Memorial Day now in between. Do we want it right after Memorial Day, earlier than, the following week would be our regular meeting? Is that something doable with folks' schedules or not? Speak up, because you all have busy schedules. So
Yeah, that's not doable for me because I'm leaving out of the country for a
Okay.
couple of weeks. I can do a meeting if you want to do a meeting like towards the end of June. And then you want to have like a public meeting or something like that, that's fine.
okay.
Is Wednesday the
So-
preferred date? Is Wednesday the preferred date, or it doesn't matter in terms of the date?
It doesn't matter for me, I'm flexible.
No, it doesn't matter for me either.
Okay, and what is the preferred time? Should we go with the 9 o'clock as we did before?
It works.
if that
Okay.
works for folks.
Okay, then let us get something together and propose a, maybe the last Wednesday in June.
Okay.
That'd
Do
be
you
the
have a date right there,
29th.
Vicky?
The 29th.
29th?
June
Okay.
29th. And then by that time, whatever we have, we can, provide whatever's forwarded to us, we can kind of incorporate and have something ready for that meeting as well.
That sounds like a real good plan.
Okay,
That's
and that's
great.
more than enough time to give the Secretary of State's notice.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah, you got to
all right.
keep us in the fairway. I don't know the law, how
Okay.
much and all
That's
that
fair.
stuff. So great.
Okay. All right, thank you so
Good.
much.
Work.
So what was that
Oh, we
date,
thank
Vicky?
you.
I think we're going to do June 29th, that Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
June 29th, Wednesday at 9. I will be sending that out to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, it says here on number 5, 2022 CE. What is the,
I have just started, just started looking at the renewals and the numbers and checking to see who's done their CE. So I really don't have anything to report at this time as far as where we are in the process. So anyone who did not renew by May 3rd, because of May 1st being a Sunday and our system needing to catch up to it, we turned it off May 3rd. So anyone after May 3rd will have to reinstate, and that will involve them. They have to, put their CE in with the reinstatement, and it'll come to me for approval. It won't just automatically be approved. So,
Hey, guys, I hate to do this, but I just looked at my calendar and I'm not available on the 29th. So you can go ahead without me or whatever. I might be available for like 20 minutes on the 29th.
are you good on the 28th?
Yeah, the
Would that
29th is,
work for people?
I'm taking my granddaughters into Manhattan to see Funny Girl at 2:00.
Okay.
So
Would the,
we'll be
would
leaving here
Tuesday
like
the
it.
28th?
Yep, Tuesday, the 28th is okay for me, if it's okay for everybody else.
That works for me.
Okay,
Good for me.
Norris,
Okay.
All right.
does that work for you?
Oh, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Tuesday,
all right.
June
And
28th at
staff,
9.
Vicky and
To
Terry
Tuesday,
Jo
the
and Linda
28th seems
good or
to
no?
be fine. I will double check to make sure, but I think that will work.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
fine for me.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it.
No
but,
problem.
You know,
All right. All right.
And
some
we
of
have
the
the
most
day open for
important
Zoom.
people in my life are on that.
There you go. Absolutely. So the 28th it is. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And Linda, just let me ask a question. Now that you are kind of retired, but you've been brought back and so forth, I'm not quite sure how this works. You say you're just beginning. Are you coming into the office, or you work from home? And did they put limits on you? Because we don't want to keep asking you to do things if that's not part of the deal that you made with the state of Connecticut. So I don't want to step on,
No,
toes or anything.
I'm working as before, if I need to go into the office, I go in. I was in yesterday for a couple hours. I'll be in tomorrow for a couple hours. And I'm, basically working full time right now. So, I can work 120 days.
Okay. All right. And they hope by the end of whenever that 120 days period is up,
Oh,
that
I'm
they'll have
hoping
someone
before
in
that.
place
Yeah,
and trained, right? Or something like
right.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping someone will be here sooner rather than later, so I have time to properly train them, unlike the training I had.
I understand. Okay. Very good. Folks, I'm looking under old business number 4 and new business number 2. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Linda and Vicky and Terry Jo and whomever, that they may be interlocked. So let me start with 4 of 2024 continuing ed CE and tell me if that is, am I reading that right, or if I'm all wet, which I probably am.
Yeah, no, I think I interpret them as being the same thing.
Okay. All right. I have, so let me jump in just as a quick level set. By the state legislature and all other aspects that go into place, we have to be done for us appraisers, everyone who's in there, for this now the CE cycle that is 10, 11 days old. We have to have our CE in by the end of January. Am I correct with that date?
Correct.
Okay. Even though our licenses run until the 30th of April, like they have historically done for as long as licensing has been in place. So
Correct.
therefore, we have a number of questions. What happens if, someone now goes and takes their class on February 1st, March 1st, April 1st? You get it, within that roughly 90-day time period, and how we want to look at it here. I have reached out and has gotten a moderate degree of success that have other states that you have to have it in 60 days ahead. California is 120 days ahead, and so forth. Some states, I'm going to generally phrase this here because there is no consistency across the board. But there is a general feeling here that, and what some will do is, if it's anything after that fact, there's a fine. And I don't have the notes in front of me here, but my memory shows me that that can be anywhere from $150 to $250. And then some have a fine plus an additional 7 hours of CE to be taken. So you have now gotten what, coast to coast, border to border, the states that, and there's about, we're now in probably a dozen of us that have something where your deadline doesn't match up to the final thing. You have to have your CE in beforehand, okay? So if we were looking to follow precedent, or we're looking to be consistent with our other brethren in states, in other words, it's all over the board. And I think it gives us, you know, we've done the research and it's open for discussion of what you folks feel would be appropriate or what you're thinking of. Now, let me say this, we are dealing with this, and I'll shush up, in May of 2022. We know that, you know, we got to go through 24, even with the schools. And I know Jackie with the Appraisal Institute, the Connecticut chapter, has been sending out as the warning flag for months and months and months now. Hey, and in the class when they've been taught, hey, this is how it is. So I don't want to hear excuses. Oh, I didn't know. If you took your CE this year and took the Connecticut law class this year, this past cycle, you've already been informed. So we're putting the bow on it here. So we have gone, I think we've done a darn good job of letting all, it's coming. Now we just got to finish it up. So enough on me. I open it up for people's thoughts on the commission.
So I just want to get the full date. So the next cycle, everything has to be in by January 30th, 2024.
Correct.
Is it the 30th or the 31st? Let's make sure we understand, because there's 31 days in January. and there's-
31st, you're right.
31st.
It's the
Yep.
31st, 2024. And I thought it was pretty simple because I taught the law module twice. And we pretty much said that any class after May 30th and May 1st, 2022 will count towards the next cycle, not anything beforehand.
Right.
Right.
So anything
That's
you
how
take
we've been
now
saying it,
counts for
John.
the next one. Unless you're taking it to reinstate your license for April. And then so those who, you know, are reinstating now and took a course May 3rd, May 4th of this year, they can't use it for 2024.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. Let me throw out I missed the deadline of January 31st. On February 7th, I take a class from the Connecticut chapter or McKissick or whomever that is approved course. So can I use that? And I'll say it's a 7-hour class. Can I use that 7 hours to address my deficiency in this current cycle? And if so, then do I pay a fine on top of that or whatever? I think that's the question we have here, because we're going to have a dozen or 20 people that will fall into this category.
At least.
How do we handle it? Yeah, at least. How do we want to handle it?
Well, I'm kind of inclined to handle the same way we would handle anybody who's going to come forward this cycle.
Right.
What are we actually doing right now? If someone comes in next month and says, hey, you know, Linda finds out they didn't take their USPAP class until tomorrow and they renewed,
Yeah.
which we've had people, you know.
Yeah.
How do we handle? We find them the same way, right? I think we should find them the same way.
Okay. Any thoughts on that by other members of the commission? Agree, disagree, modify?
No, I think if we're using the same policies, we're just changing dates. It's going to confuse everybody, but they'll get used to it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because
Um,
the 2024 to 2026 cycle CE cycle will start February 1st.
Right.
So they will have the full 2 years.
We were not going to do that. I thought you had to wait still to May to start the next cycle.
No, we can, once the CE is due, then, I mean, that's how I am interpreting it.
Last time we met, we were talking about we would still have the cycle the same. You have to start after May. I think it will be very difficult for people to keep track if they take a class March 1st. Which cycle is it for?
Yeah, I think the first 1 or 2 cycles will be confusing, and then they'll hopefully get used to it.
I think at this point, as you're moving forward with this, you just have to send out a lot of information on like maybe a every other month basis, reminding everybody the dates are changed. You need to get all your CE before this date, and you'll get your new license 3 months later. Because that's essentially what it is, right? If we get everything done by January 31st, you're still not going to get your new license until April, May.
Right, the renewals, my understanding is the renewals will not go out until the normal time. This is just giving the department basically time to verify that everyone has done their CE.
Yes.
And it's, and they're doing this for all licenses within the department, the electricians, the plumbers, the real estate people.
Everybody.
Yes, but still, if somebody takes a class March 1st, what cycle? Does everybody understand what cycle we're going to apply that to?
March 1st of 2024.
First, yeah, 2024. What cycle?
Shauna,
The 24 cycle or the 26 cycle?
Shauna, I may be the outlier because I deal with all these different states. I have never had an issue with that. I hear you loud and clear. Other people may have an issue. That's the law. I view that's part of my profession. It's my livelihood, my responsibility to know that, and if we put out, that's just what I live with, so, but your point is well taken because we've all seen enough experience of others here, so we're going to have, X amount of people with this. So it's a fair
cycle would you say,
question.
Jerry, though? Jerry, what cycle would you say if you take a class March 1st, 2024? Is that the 24 cycle, 26 cycle?
Yeah, I think that should be in the 26 cycle.
Yeah, didn't we just say that all the classes had to be done by January 31st?
Yeah.
But your license is still new and it's still active until.
That just gives everybody a chance to get all the licenses done. I mean, right now they've been working on an unbelievably fast path to try and get the licensing done. Once all the CE comes in, because a lot of people, I'm sure, Linda, a lot of people send in their CE like me. This year, I forgot that I was still missing a class. So I was taking a class the week before it was up. So I think there's a lot of that you have to wait till the end to get everybody in. So this just gives us a little bit of time.
That's not addressing my question.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we send out a letter to everybody? Linda, can we send out a letter to everybody just to remind them? So we're very clear on what this, and this?
Yeah, the department will be sending out letters to all the licensees, all the schools. They just want to wait until after the end of May. They would rather do all the real estate because salespeople are all renewing this month. So there are people who have both a appraiser and a salesperson's license So we don't want to confuse people because they're very easily confused sometimes.
Oh, that's good.
So we want to wait until the renewal cycle is over with. But all the, any school I've talked to, I've told, so the schools are pretty much aware of it. We discussed it at the instructor seminar. So, and as you said, the law course had it in it. So every appraiser should have taken the law course, and if they were paying attention, they know it's coming.
Okay. As long as the department is sending out a letter.
Yeah.
Good.
I asked Terry Jo, do we have, or anyone, do we have public members viewing today's
Yep.
Yeah.
meeting?
Yes, we do. Yes, we
Yes.
do, Jim.
Okay, are there any questions by the public or any comments from the public members would like to weigh in on this topic? If there
I
are,
don't
Terry Jo,
see
just
any
let us know.
hands. Yeah, there are no hands at this point, Commissioner.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I'm kind of driving blind here. But getting back to Shauna's question here, Shauna, does that answer the question or muddle it even more?
I thought we were saying you had to wait till March 1st, May 1st. That was my understanding, so I didn't know we're changing this.
Well, we can go to whatever date right now. And I thought we were kind of May 1st as well, Shauna, so you're not alone on that thought. But I'm listening here, we can change it. But the downside of that, as I was more thinking about it here, was what happens when the school offers the real, I meet my CE. I get it in on January 24th. AK. Then the chapter runs a bang up program. I want my butt in there and I'm going to watch the 3 or 4 or 7 hours, whatever it may be. I don't need the hours for the cycle I just ended, but I sure as heck would like it to count for something. So if we begin May 1st, then that's like a bad phrase here, a dead zone, so to speak, for someone to get their CE. Does that accomplish what we're looking for? That is the only change of thought I've had since our last meeting. Anyway, that's
right.
my 10 cents.
It also will not give them 2 full years to do their CE.
But only for that 1 year,
Well,
Oh,
the
it
one
would be-
cycle.
It would be
this
every year.
cycle it won't, but going forward, if we don't start the cycle until May of 2024, from February to May, they're not going to take any classes. So, they're only going because they won't count for either side.
I'm not against it starting, but I just thought from the last meeting, we were on, you had to wait till May 1st to start the next cycle. Because the license was still active and it wasn't until the next cycle that you had to take continuing ed. I'm okay with changing it, but my understanding.
Yeah, Shauna, I was on the same page you were, Shauna, okay, or my understanding, okay? So, but I'm with you, what I think I just heard you say, after much more thought, driving around America and thinking about it here, the downside, we just suck it up this time, we get through January 31st, and CE begins on February 1 for the next cycle, even though you still have your license for another 90 days going to the old one.
If Linda
Personally, I
doesn't
think that
mind,
might be
that's
the
fine
best
with
of
me.
all worlds.
It's not going to affect
Is that-
me at all.
I know you personally, but you in your role, the
No,
active
'cause
role of that
that's
person.
how it's going to work with all the other licenses. So,
Okay, then I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure
Okay.
we're all understanding that.
all right. And I agree,
Are
we
we-
need to give multiple notices, most likely.
Absolutely. It's going to be, once you said clear it out, we do it over the summer. I think we have to do it in January and say, hey, a year from now, you're going to
Your
have to have your
CEs
CE
due.
just to let you know.
Yeah,
And, there's 2, and do we do 6 months before then? Hey, you're 6 months
I would
out.
think so.
And therefore, you would
You
do
know,
a
and I know the
3,
schools-
almost 3 strikes.
Yeah, and the schools will most likely be very good with their advertising. Letting people know.
And the rush, instead of being March and April, is going to be December and January.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. January's gonna be nuts.
We're gonna put it off after the holidays and.
Yeah, so
Yep,
January will be
exactly.
very busy for the schools.
Good. Like I said, I'm
Can you
fine with
guys,
that.
can you guys send, Linda and Vicky, can you send out like a notice to each of the commission members? So we have it exactly worded the way it should be worded if anybody asks us, you know, what's going on with the changes in the CE and stuff like that, just so that we have it and we're all giving exactly the same message to anybody who asks us.
I think the best way to go about doing that is to wait until such time as the department issues.
Oh, okay.
whatever It's
Mhm.
going to issue, and
Yep.
then that will also be sent to the commission members.
Okay,
I
perfect.
don't
Fair
want
enough.
to, I'll say, take the liberty
Yep.
of putting something together and then, the
Yep,
decision
that's
is
good.
such that it should be said a certain way. So once it has been officially disseminated,
Uh-huh.
all the members will also be given a copy
Okay,
to make sure
perfect.
that everybody's on the same
Yep.
page. But that's a good idea. It's not a problem at all.
Vicky, looking into your crystal ball,
I have.
when do you, in a time frame, when do you think that will be coming through? Is that 90 days from now?
Well,
or-
no, as I understand what Linda was saying, as I understand who's on mute, Linda, you're on mute, but as I understood what Linda was saying, she was saying that we're waiting until after the real estate
Yeah, okay.
has been addressed. And after that has been addressed, then it will happen. So I anticipate sometime in June, Linda, is that?
Yeah, my talking with the director of licensing, Mike Elliott, that is what I am anticipating.
Sometime
So
in
let
June.
me ask one last question from my part on the what ifs. Okay, because for those who've taught it and whatever, there's going to be the what if question. We said we're going to follow the same process, and what was our fine this time here? What do we envelope if they're late? How much was the dollar amount?
It's 400, right?
In 2020, it was 400. I think
Okay.
that's part of what we need to discuss for 2022 was the fine, if we were keeping it the same, if we were changing it.
Okay, well, I was thinking of 2024, so I didn't even realize we didn't address 2022. So I open it up to everybody here. Is that something that has to get the blessing from the department? It seems to be at that level, over the years. Am I wrong on that assumption?
No, you're
Right,
not
if you
wrong.
guys, not wrong. If you want to increase it from the 400 or change it at all, it will have to go to the commissioner for approval.
Okay, open up to commission members. Thoughts on this? Do we want to keep it the same, higher, lower? Open question.
I think leaving it the same is okay. If my second choice would be to raise it a little bit, like maybe make it 500, but I don't think we should make it lower. I mean, if you're not getting all your stuff done on time, if you don't have a really good excuse, like you've been in a coma for 3 months, there's no reason why. So there should be a penalty, and I think it should be fairly steep. I've always thought that the 400 was pretty steep, but
And Linda, you'll remember there was a time it was $100 per hour you were short.
right,
So some people end up paying $2,800,
Right.
$2,400, $1,800. So that was the argument on the other side. I miss it by one. Do I miss it by 1 hour or I miss it by 28? Should the penalty be the same? That was the discussions years ago that went on. I just bring it up for a reference point today.
You're right. I kind of forgot about that. I mean, maybe the basis should be it starts at $400, but if you haven't taken all your course, although I have to tell you that because I was teaching this year, I thought I had finished everything. And then I found out I was 11 hours short. And the last week I'm like running around taking courses. They were very interesting courses though. I was glad I took them, but I was, I just totally lost track of it and thought I was all done. And I wasn't. So I was really close to getting that fine. I don't know. I think.
Any thoughts from other
Yeah.
commission members?
I think it should be the same if you miss by 1 hour or 28 hours.
The same,
do or you
Shauna?
don't?
It broke up.
We can't hear Shauna.
Could not be the same.
I kind of agree.
Shauna, I'm in an area where you're going in and out. Did I hear you correctly? You don't think it should be the same 1 hour versus 28? Did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
Okay. You and I are kind of on the same boat, on that. I've always found that, but, I don't, knowing it's election year for the governor, the governorship and so forth and what have you. I also know it's just something that we have one for this cycle, meaning 2022, then we can set it for the 2024. I don't know how legally that goes. Vicky, I'm just throwing ideas out for discussion. We can, if we want, keep it the same for this cycle here that the 2022's ended and, discuss this even further now or what we're allowed to do, or then we can set for next month for where we're going to stand for the 2024 cycle here. Anyway, a lot of things I've just thrown on the table, so I'll shush up and listen.
No, Jerry, actually, I'd like you to make another comment. What would you prefer it to be?
I think there should be a difference between what that number is for that 1 hour versus someone who just blew it off with no things. I believe, listen, this is a profession. It's near and dear to our heart, my heart. This has been my livelihood. In fact, our family. Terry's in there as well. And I think there's a responsibility of being in this profession and not just a job, but a profession. And we have to meet that responsibility. And if I fall short because I'm 3 hours short or something was filed or whatever the case may be, that's my responsibility to get it done. We've seen time and time again, people are 24, 28 hours and like, we get a shrug of the shoulders type of thing here. And I said, how is that serving the public?
Right.
And have had a hard time in my brain getting around it. I was now, was it $100? I know that came down from up on top. That was a law and order type of thing. And that decree lasted maybe 2 cycles and then it disappeared. I get it. We're in a different world and I have to evolve with it here. But if there's up to 5-6 hours, it's one fund. Anything over that, another one. A tiered system. That's just my personal feeling on the whole matter. Okay.
How about we say it's like $500 and then $25 per credit, and then so it won't be astronomical, but at least there would be a difference between 1 hour and 28 hours. If you add $25 per hour.
Do the 500?
Shauna, I would
Start at 500 and then if for somebody who's just late, $500, and then that has all their time. But somebody that's 4 hours short, it would be $600. It won't be a crazy number. It won't be 2,800. It would be like a little over 1,000 if you didn't take anything.
Whatever you're proposing, you have to get permission for, no matter what.
Okay.
So whatever you propose, just, put it in writing, Jerry as a chair, and say, this is what the commission is anticipating for this cycle.
I really think I'm on board with Shauna and Jerry on this because it still upsets me that we had that one appraiser show up who didn't take a single class and said he did. And that just infuriates me. And I understand that, some of us are getting older and think we have the numbers and we don't. And that's one thing versus those who just are just
now taking them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of a sliding scale because even if we impose a fine of whatever comes out, I think the highest on Shauna's formula was $1,900. They still have a right to appeal, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they can come before you and you can, listen to them and lower it or change it if you so choose.
Yeah, so they still have an appeal process. So
If nothing, it would be 12.
May I make a suggestion for us here? One, this would be hard to implement right now for people who just ended their cycle and they say, well, we didn't know this or what have you. can I suggest that we leave it the same as we've had it before for the 2022 cycle? Okay, so that just ended. And what we're talking about and getting permission, as Vicky has pointed out correctly here, that we need to get from, you know, up on high, and we'll put that would go in for the 2024 cycle. How does that float with you folks?
Gotta start right away.
Well, you know, we can, Vicky just said we have to submit this, so why don't we submit it to try to get it approved for this cycle? If we can't, then we have to, nothing but rely on what we have.
Yeah.
But at least
Okay.
we're trying to get approved.
That's the
for next-
fallback. Okay.
Yeah.
Norris, you've been quiet. Any thoughts on this
Yeah,
matter?
because I remember, if I'm correct, Mr. Chairman, this was done with the last chairman, Chris, Vicky, you would probably remember too, Chris Italia, when we did the original 400. And what we had to go through just to get, everybody had to agree. Jerry, you were there too, just to agree on the original 400. So I would think what we'd have to do again would be to go back to the commissioner, submit, if I'm correct, Vicky, submit whatever we have to submit again, and she would have to make that decision.
That is correct. I mean, you have to make a proposal, and I you know.
Yeah, you got to make that
Yes.
proposal. Yeah, I understand.
I don't know what other boards or commissions are
when-
doing, and
Yeah,
that may,
you
you know, have some impact or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much
Yeah.
COVID will impact or not impact the economy. You know, there's all kinds of, I'll say, issues. So
Yeah,
all you can do
and
is propose
like-
it and get,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. she's not-
confirmation.
And if and like I said, the commissioner may not even want to do anything on this. So when somebody, we can't unilaterally do it ourselves right now. I mean, we don't even know when this lady the commissioner would would even say, hey, do I want to deal with this or not? I mean, I might want to deal with it. So here, write up the proposal, get everybody, and send it to her, and see what she wants to do. She'll make that call.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm on the road right now and then the balance of the week. Over the weekend and by Monday, I'll send to Terry Jo a draft document, and I will ask Terry Jo to disseminate it to the commission members and staff. And if we could then take, you know, in a day or two, whatever, any comments, and then we'll put a final draft together then to be presented to the commissioner's office, and then we see what happens from there. Does that sound like a fair plan to everybody?
That's a fair plan to me.
Yeah, that sounds good, Jer.
Shauna, you're okay?
It's good.
Shauna's still with us?
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's good.
And John?
I'm good. I'm flexible. I might not be able to respond over the next 2 weeks, but I'm fine with it.
Okay,
I'm okay with
all right.
whatever you
And
decide.
staff, does that work for you, Vicky and Sarah Jo? Linda? Does that work for you
I'm
folks
fine with
as
that,
well?
yeah.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right,
Sounds
and
good.
that's the game plan. I will try to have it through to Terry Jo by close of business on Monday, a draft that she will disseminate to folks. And if you could, give a few days here, if you have a chance or not. If you don't, then we're still going to then put a final draft here of what for those who have responded, and then it runs a course of its own. Lord knows where it goes from there, but we've at least addressed it. Okay. Good. This was good discussion. We've looked at things here. We didn't kick the can down the road. We're trying to address it as we see it and so forth. Okay. I show on here 3 last things on the agenda. I really have to get off in about 2 minutes here. So we'll start with a Paul Ramuni, the RSP seeking extension of provisional license. This is continued from the March meeting. Is Mr. Ramuni with us this morning?
He's not. I did hear back from him, and he has decided he is not going to seek an extension.
Okay.
So he
And
is
this is the one-
withdrawing his
and-
request.
Okay, and this is the gentleman, to refresh my memory, who had not taken any classes in the last 7 years or something like that,
Correct.
outside of the, very good, okay.
The
All
only
right,
thing
then.
I would say is that there has to be some type of written documentation that can go in the file to substantiate his request that it be withdrawn or something.
I
If you
have it.
the
He sent me
email,
an
yeah.
email. He
Okay,
sent me
that's
an
fair.
email. And I
Okay,
put
that's
it in
fine.
his
Yeah.
file.
All right, great, thank you.
Will that be attached to the minutes of of this month's meeting? So when we, is that the process that you're looking for, Vicky? So then it's official?
No, I think if it's in the minutes, that's fine, as long as it's a part of the file, in case, again, for auditing purposes, as long as it's
Yep.
included in the file, we should be sufficient. But if it's included in the minutes, I think, yeah, as long as there's a reference to it, I think that's sufficient, yeah.
Very good. So we
Okay.
need no vote. Okay, that has been done. Okay, we have now Sarah Thompson, RCR applicant, and Mr. Messina. As I mentioned before, that just came on, I can't have anything to do with Mr. Messina, and I knew time was going to be running here, so he's going to be, him and his sponsor or sponsors will be coming on at 9:30ish, just to clock on. But is Miss Thompson with us this morning?
Yes, I am.
Yes, she is.
Well, welcome. And at this point is when I'm going to have to step down, and I'm going to have to be leaving the meeting because I know I have to leave in 5 minutes anyway, and I don't want to begin and then make it an awkward thing. So I apologize, but who would like to take over being chairman for the balance of the meeting? And I will hand that baton over to you at that point.
Norris, can you do it?
Residential and one commercial person, so.
Can Norris do it?
Anyone can. Norris, do you want to be chairman for the balance of the meeting?
Absolutely. I'll finish it up
Okay.
for you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Norris. Thank you, everybody. For those who, with a holiday coming up, it's one of my special ones, Memorial Day, what have you. Always remember why, the blessings we have and all that stuff. So have a good week, good month, and we will be talking. And thank you very much. I again apologize to everyone that I'm cutting it short, but hope you understand. Thank you.
Safe travels,
Take
Garrett.
care. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Jerry.
Aye.
Linda, Ms. Thompson's there?
Yes, she is here and her sponsor is with her.
Hey,
And now
Ms.
she
Thompson,
is, okay,
I was going to say, Ms. Thompson, say your full name and your business address.
Full name is Sarah Thompson and the business address is 58 Commerce Street, Clinton, Connecticut.
And your sponsor?
Is Christopher Burke, 58 Commerce Street, Clinton, Connecticut.
Okay. Thank you, Linda.
all right, she sent me 2 more samples at your request. She is back. You had her submit 2 more additional samples that I sent to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you guys go ahead and take over with any questions that you have for her.
Does any commission members have anything to?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. I did go over the appraisals. And I think they were really good. There were a couple of things that I was confused on. On 57 Shipman, there was a comment that said 10% considered vacant residential on your breakup of, what's commercial, what's residential, and anything like that. I was just wondering why you had a separate category for vacant residential. We normally just include residential as residential, whether there's anything built on it or not, if it's classified for zoning as residential. So it wasn't a big deal. I just was surprised to see it.
Sure, that's something that we use in all of our appraisal templates is have a spot for vacant residential. It's something that we implement throughout all of our reports.
Okay. The other thing is you made a comment that there was no cost approach due to age. How old were these properties? This was on Shipman. I don't think they were that old.
The Shipman house was built in 1957.
Yeah, that's not old. 1857 is old. And I always really, really want to see the cost approach, especially when you're submitting something. You know, we want to know that you can do every approach.
Sure.
So
I did submit my first appraisals. I did submit one.
You had
with
the cost approach in there.
Yep. So they said for this one to you know, choose my own two, and they did not have it in it.
And then the next thing on, and I'm telling you that when I read your reports, I was okay with your reports. I thought they were decent reports. But then there's this other thing, and I don't know how come this happens so many times when someone's submitting something, because I would think that you would go through everything multiple times to make sure everything is in just the right order. And yet you submitted the last page of your report was a blank page that said appraisal assistance, and there was nothing on it but the title.
Oh, I see.
You know, so it just,
yeah, that should have been.
And I know this is tough, but it just seems to me like if I would have been handing over my appraisal to my supervisor and asking them for one last look, because they're not as nervous about this as you are,
right.
You know? So those are the kind of things that kind of make me think, the next one I had was 25 Chestnut in Rocky Hill. Rocky Hill's not an area I'm really familiar with, so I'm trusting your comments on it. But there was nothing offered for sale?
No.
You had like 0 and 0 for.
Right. There were no
really?
listings in the subject neighborhood. Nope. Nothing that was comparable to the subject.
Okay. Okay, I think that might have, and I don't remember seeing this, but I think that might have required a comment that said nothing was available for sale in the subject neighborhood. When I'm reading it, I'm looking like, how could there not be nothing for sale in Rocky Hill? We don't normally limit our sales to a small neighborhood.
Right, and I did look outside the neighborhood, but the properties the condos that were for sale, I did not think were comparable to the subject, so it wouldn't.
Okay. The same kind of statement would have been, you know, there's nothing within the neighborhood for sale or outside the neighborhood that's comparable, so that it's really clear to the reader.
Sure.
And I think that's the whole thing I've always done with all the reports. I want somebody who hasn't got a clue what we do for a living to be able to pick up a report and understand the story.
Okay.
Okay. That to me is the most important thing. What was this other? Oh, there was on the, I think it's the basement on the adjustments on 25 Chestnut.
Yes.
The subject had it's a deck, 160 square foot deck. Or no, that was one of the comps, had 160 square foot deck, and your subject has 55. You made adjustments for a lot of things. I'm surprised that you wouldn't make an adjustment for something that's almost 3 times as big.
Right. So the deck adjustments we find is, you know, roughly $5 a square foot.
Okay.
So I didn't think it was significant enough. You know, I don't believe it would have impacted the final opinion of value. It was just an insignificant number. So that's why I didn't make an adjustment for the deck line.
Okay. And then my last question on this is just like a crazy thing. When I'm looking at this property, the photos that you put in there, the front of the subject is brown and the back is white or a cream color. Is that right? I thought you took the wrong picture and put in the wrong picture or something.
No, that's correct. If you look at the subject front, if you look off to the right, see the one next to it has that same cream color. You're right. The front and back were different colors.
That's bizarre. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. Does any other commissioners have anything to add?
I do. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep. No, now we can't.
Couple questions. Let's start with 25 Chestnut. You adjusted for the basement square footage, and then you also adjusted for the garage, which is really the basement. So aren't you kind of double dipping the adjustment for saying it has a basement and it has a garage? And you say there's only 200 square feet of basement. So then if I say 200 square feet, you're saying $2,000.
So what I did there was, if you look in, I did explain it in the summary of the approach as well in the unit description. The basement was comprised of a 2-car garage that was roughly 500 square feet out of that 700. The additional 200 square feet consisted of a utility closet, a storage closet, and a good size hallway area. So I did not adjust for the garage on that line. I did it on the garage line. I only adjusted for the 200 square feet of finished basement instead of, double dipping like you said.
So it was a foot for the basement?
Yes, $10 a foot.
It doesn't say that in your comments. Doesn't give me the price.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
I guess my question on that is also, you couldn't find anyone that had a basement garage on it.
No, so in the subject complex, there were 0 sales with a basement garage. I looked outside the complex and used data from nearby, condo complexes like the Oaks and Westgate. Nothing with a basement garage, but I did find other 2-car garages. So I was able to use that data to make my garage adjustment, but no, there are no sales with a 2-car garage, on the basement level.
So how about comp 5? 360 square feet. You didn't give it any adjustment for the basement.
No, I did not.
That was a foot. It would be what?
About 16, right? 1,600. Yep.
Why would there be no adjustment there then?
I probably should have made an adjustment there, and that would have brought the adjusted sale price down a bit. That was a mistake, but looking at the appraisal as a whole again, I really don't feel it would have impacted my final opinion of value. But yes, I should have made that $1,600 adjustment.
We're having a hard time hearing you.
Sorry. I don't know if it's my computer because it's going through my computer. 57 Shipman.
Yes.
You have so many colonials and there's tons of colonial sales. So I'm wondering, why did you put a comp 2 that is really, it's got a lot of adjustments. I'm trying to understand why you would put in comp 2 that's a cape instead of just using all the colonials or another colonial. Why would you use a cape? I know people that will never buy a cape. So, if you have to use it, I get it. But in this case, you didn't have to use it.
Right. I chose that one because it was in close proximity to the subject versus some of the colonials I found were a tad farther. I also used it because it was a recent sale. If you'll see, it closed in December. So, the more recent, I believe, the more reliable. And it did bracket my GLA. It also has 3 bedrooms versus a 4. So I was able to bracket that off. And other similarities like the 2-car garage, but the site was fairly similar. But my main reason being the proximity to the subject and because it was such a recent sale.
Like Linda says, it's always important to kind of tell us the story. Your summary of your sales comparison approach is kind of limited. It doesn't really tell me these things.
Okay.
It just says you comparable 1, 2, and 3 are the most regarding size. It doesn't really tell me why you pick comp 2. It would have been nice to see that in the write-up, because then I wouldn't be asking you this question. I would try to understand better.
Right.
One more question on this one, at least. The market was booming and you have a sale from June, comp 1, with no time adjustment on it. And I just can't understand why there's no time adjustment from something that was so old.
So what I did put a market condition summary report or page in the report. And, Chris has always taught me to really look at what the numbers, what the data is telling us. And I agree the market and at that time was booming. But based on the numbers in the, when I did the market condition summary, it really appears to have been stabilizing in Glastonbury, which is why I felt there was no need for a time adjustment, because I didn't have numbers to back up what that time adjustment should be.
And it would be good for you to say that, especially the world knows prices are going up, that to say why you didn't do something, that would be kind of like standing out. I think these reports are much better. I think you do need to be conscious about what you're writing as far as the comps, so we can get into your head.
Okay.
So I think you need to really work on that, but I do think you're better, and I'm okay with you moving forward at this point, but keep that in mind going forward.
Sure.
Well, it's always an evolving process.
Definitely.
Commissioner Galvin, you have anything to add?
No, I'm fine with these. I do agree with the comments that were made about being a little more detailed. The only thing I do suggest going forward is this on this Chestnut one. It's previously sold in June of 2019 for $131,000. You make a comment about that it was updated. I personally would like to see you follow up with another comment, because USPAP requires us to state and analyze a previous sale. So I would like to see something more explaining the jump from 131 to your final value of, what was it, 210. I know that it was market conditions and stuff like that, and a lot of it's implied, and we know that, but you know, we're going to be going to the different market conditions at some point, and you're going to have to just, I think it requires more, just a little more explanation, just only because I've been involved in a couple of court cases around this. So just to protect yourself, state and analyze. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion
you,
to
Commissioner.
approve. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nays? It's passed.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We're on to old business. Number 3.
Linda, do you want to tell her what's next, just so she knows what's coming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Sarah, we will let PSI know that you are approved to sit for the exam. So whenever you feel ready to take it, I would say by Friday, you can, call them if you want to schedule the appointment, or anytime after Friday that you are ready to sit for the exam.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good
Nice
luck.
to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Old business, number 3, Greg Messina. I'm saying that, Messina, RCG applicant sample review. Mr. Messina, are you here?
Yep, right here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, can you say your full name, last name, and your business address?
Yep, Gregory Messina, 107 Elm Street, Stamford, Connecticut.
Do you have your sponsor with you?
Yep, my sponsors, Brian and Eric, are on the call.
Can he do the same thing, his full name and his address, business address?
Hi, it's Eric Michelle, Cushman and Wakefield, 107 Elm Street, 4 Stamford Plaza, Stamford, Connecticut.
Good morning,
Thank you,
Brian
sir.
Royce, 107 Elm Street, Stamford, Connecticut, 06902.
Thank you, sirs. Commissioners, anything you'd like to say? Anyone like to speak up first?
Yeah, hi guys. Welcome, Greg. I kind of want to start with your, what I'm going to ask is, I want to clarify that both Brian Royce and Eric Michaud are both your sponsors?
Yes.
Eric, Mike, I'm sorry, Eric.
That's okay, John.
Age.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to ask you the same question on each one. I'm going to start with the Farmington one on Farmington Court Apartments.
Yep.
Farmington Avenue. What did you do on this appraisal?
I worked through the entire appraisal, including the valuation process.
All right. So on this property, couple of things. You make I'm going to jump all over the place, and basically I'm going to throw a lot of questions out at you only because I want to hear how you respond. I know your sponsors understand the market, understand value, and et cetera, but I want to hear you. Okay. So on the on this report, you make a comment in here that there's no nothing going on in the market in terms of new construction. So my question is, how do you come up with that when you make that comment? Where are you getting that information from?
Well, generally, we're checking to see if there's anything proposed under construction or any properties that would directly compete with our property. So while in this market and in other markets, you see plenty of new construction that's going on, we don't feel that any new developments that are coming online, usually geared a little bit more luxury, higher rents. And that's not to say anything bad about our property, but we're talking more about direct competition that would be entering the market that would directly compete with our subject property.
So you went to the town and you asked the town?
Usually research.
On this particular one, did you go to the town and ask the town?
I did not go to the town, no.
All right.
I'll let you go.
I think it's important that you kind of get in the habit. What I'm getting with this is I notice a trend through some of your reports is that, you know, I know there's a time frame and we have the format and stuff like that, but there's certain things I think you should get in the habit of doing. That's hard for a sponsor to teach you. And this is one of them, because just a few lots over is a new apartment development proposed from this property that will compete with this property. There's also another one in town going up too, that's in litigation. And of course, you did mention the stuff that's going north of this stuff, but I think I'm getting, you make a couple of generic statements, and those generic statements may cover you, and the average reader reading this may not know it, but those who know the market and knows what's going on, you could end up being misleading. You make another comment in this report about the flood. So you have a flood map in this report?
Yep.
And you don't make any comment and it looks like it's also in a flood. It's not in an AE zone. It's
it looks like on page 35 in the X500 or B zone. I see what you're saying.
So just so you know that this property is close to the Farmington River.
Yep, backs right up to it.
And I'm not sure if you noticed, but there's a park right next to this property, just a few lots over.
Yep, right down. Yep.
That area's been underwater twice in the past. In the flood of 55, there were 13 homes wiped out right there. So I don't see anything in the comment about whether flood insurance should be required or not. Is that something you consider, or is that?
Looking at this map, and you know, I should go back, pull it up. It appears this isn't something that came up in our research from what I remember. It appears that the building might not be, or the improvements might not be, but that's something I should definitely look back into and check, because if it is, that's something that should be considered to see if there's a higher insurance premium associated with this property for being in a flood zone.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to go back. I'm just saying that just be more conscientious of it going forward. All right, so on this one, I got one more comment on this one. On your, this is something I noticed a couple of the reports too.
Yeah.
And it's something I think coming up is if you look at your taxes and your what page, your assessment, I gotta get used to your format here.
Maybe page 39.
All right, we go to page 39. You have your total tax, your total assessment, your applied assessment on the 100% market value was 4,167,200. Okay, so that's the 100% assessment. Yet you're coming in with a value on this thing of 7,550,000, correct?
Right.
So my question is, did you one of the if you go to your income approach, you use the existing taxes. Do you ever go back and look to make sure the thing is equitably assessed?
So this is,
let me rephrase that question.
Yep, go ahead.
If you were going to go back and look to see if the thing was equitably assessed, how would you do that?
Well, first and foremost, this report does not have a statement, but generally we put a statement in there sometimes, especially we've noticed that while the state of Connecticut says that it should be at 70% of market value, the assessments, sometimes that trails a little bit. So one of the things that we've been looking at and putting in, and I focus on this more, especially for sales that are coming up right before a reval. Something that would be on the assessor's radar. In this instance, that was something that didn't come up, I guess, as I was looking at that, but it is noted that there is a gap between our implied market value from our conclusion and what the assessor's implied market value is here.
But how would you normally check for that yourself? What mathematical?
I would look at the difference between those. What's the percentage difference? So right here, that's 4167.
Would you do a tax loaded overall rate just to check yourself? I'm trying to move this along.
Got it. That's something that could help look at that, and that's something to consider moving forward.
All right, because if you do that, you'll see you got a big difference here. You got like 750,000. I'm just going to caution you that going forward, you know, that you take a look at that, because on you got a couple more on the other your next one. On if we can jump to the next one on 211 Ferry Boulevard.
Yep.
You also do the same thing on the tax. I know it's new constructions, but if you do your tax loaded overall rate, the value comes in substantially less. And I know you use tax comps in there, and I know that's fine and all that, but I'm just cautioning you just to kind of sometimes when you get done to back up. I know you're under the gun to get stuff done, and you got two people over you hounding you to push things out the door. I understand that, but still you're responsible. So sometimes you got to back up and sit in the curb across the street and look at these things and say, does this really make sense? And in all respect.
Absolutely, that's good advice. I appreciate it.
All right, so on this one here, I just want to jump down to page 64.
Yep.
So on page 64, you have in here, when you're doing the prospective value, you have a prospective land value conclusion. You automatically make a market conditions based on 2.91%.
Yep.
And the values are going to go up 2.9%. Where are you getting that from?
Generally, we're looking at talking to market participants, whether that be investors, owners, prospective buyers, brokers, just how they've seen the market improve. And generally, we're looking at improved sales first and foremost. Land is a little bit trickier to get that same number from, but we find that land usually follows the improved sales as far as the market conditions go. You know, when improved sales are doing better and increasing, land is generally following in the same direction.
Okay, I'm going to caution you, just made a mistake. All right, because we're in a market right now where construction costs are going way up, right?
Yes.
So it's pushing, values are pushing up. So in order to make things feasible, in a lot of cases, the land values aren't going up. And in some markets around here, we're actually seeing a little bit of decline and stuff. So my point is, I want to just caution you just not to use generic statements or rely on stuff, to use the data. So in a situation like this, we have 2.91%. I know that even if you don't have the data in the report, just to check yourself and put the data in your file, okay? And not rely on just general trends. I'm going to jump over to, I got a lot of notes here, a lot of notes. 21 Hyde.
Yep.
All right, so on 21 Hyde, this one you did for the property owner, correct?
Yes, this was for their own internal use.
All right. So where in this report, this is an industrial condominium?
Yes. Yep.
Where in this report do you describe the condominium association, the rest of the building, et cetera?
In the improvement section, I'm describing the improvements, but this is something I noticed that obviously my pro forma out of the condominium association fees, but I did notice that in this report, having looked at it, there wasn't a lot of detail as far as the condominium association here.
All right. I know it was for the property owner, but you know, even though we're trying to, you know, we assume if, you know, when in a report, we assume certain things that the client knows certain things, but you got to defend your report, and there's no, you're at a disadvantage because I'm very familiar with this property.
Sure.
Corner from me. But anyway, I think it's important that you actually describe the other units and what's going on in there. The other question I have is you say in here, you make a comment, and I know that your corporation that you work for has a legal staff that requires you to say certain things, etc. But the property owner gave you a cost of for the roof, to replace the roof.
Yes.
All right. You make a comment in here that you're not really qualified to detect roof, things like that.
Yep.
But as appraisers, as time goes on, those are things I think you should be conscientious and work on in learning what's the difference between a good roof and a bad roof. I mean, are there buckets hanging from the girders, you know, ceiling, you know, those kind of things. And that you don't rely on just, you know, generic statements like that. I think it's going to get you off the hook, because there's going to be a point in your career where it's not going to get you off the hook. So if someone's given you a thing, you know, you have in here, you have a photo of, I believe you have an aerial photo. And I would just caution, just take a look at it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just caution. The other thing about this report too is if you go to your exhibit of the property, the aerial, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on page 11.
Yep.
See how you have subject?
Yep.
Well, your unit is actually in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be cautious of just being a little more, you know, taking a little more time just to throw a line in it with whatever you're using for software, just to show the reader, because it can be misleading, is what I'm getting at. All right.
Sure, that makes sense. Thank you.
On the I want to jump down to the one on sorry about that, the one on Tunx's Tunx's self-storage.
Yep.
How much did you do on this report?
This was very early on in my career. So this was a lot of local area, property information, helping set up the report, and especially the front end of the report.
All right. So you didn't do anything on the value of this?
I did not know.
Okay. All right, so let's just go to the last one was Horse Plains Road.
Yep.
Horse Plains Road, I really didn't have any issues with at all. I thought, how much did you do on this one? I hope you're gonna.
I did the full report. Yeah, the full report.
All right. The only other thing I want to say is if you worked on the front of the report on Tunx's self-storage,
sure.
This thing's in Clinton, all right? Yep. And you have a lot of information on the Hartford market.
Yeah.
You can talk about the Hartford labor market. And this property is not even part of the Hartford labor market. It's part of the Clinton labor. I know it was early on.
Yeah.
But I know that your company puts a lot of stuff on the heavy front of it. And I'm just going to suggest that one of the things you might want to, I know this was kind of a pattern, is to be more descriptive on your property, being more property specific, and talk about your property and its local market and the market at which it competes. Try to make those connections a little more. I think going forward, it just makes your reports a little more credible,
sure.
as opposed to being kind of generic with the front end stuff. So, you know, I know you have a lot of stuff, and it was your beginning, but when you first started, but I noticed in the last reports that you did, it was more concise. So I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other commissioners? Donna, Linda?
Nope, I'm all set.
All right, I make a motion that we accept Greg Messina's experience.
Commissioner
second
Galvin
it.
makes the motion. Commissioner Sutso seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sean is an aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Messina. Thank you. Thank you to the two sponsors. I can't remember your name. I can't see, so I don't remember your name, sirs, but thank you for being here. And Linda?
I will, as I told Sarah, I will notify PSI probably Friday. They'll have the info. So whenever you feel ready and confident to sit for the exam, you can go ahead and call and schedule the appointment.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your time today.
Good luck.
Thank you, sirs.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Our last, school and course approvals. Linda,
We
you
did
look at that?
We did that.
Good question, Linda. I thought you were putting on the assessors. Remember we contacted you about that? And you said it was in the wrong spot.
You're right, and I totally forgot because I had my intern do this for the school. So we do need to add one school if we can, or one course. It is the assessors school for 2022, which is the first week of June.
Right, and they were looking for 369 hours, I believe.
Right, there was 3 courses.
Yeah,
But they were
3 out of
looking-
the week. You know, there's
Right,
many.
3 out of the week for 9 hours.
You
So,
have to add that to the agenda?
yeah, we do. I'm sorry.
Add it to the agenda.
Want to make a motion, Shauna?
I do.
I'll second it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to all in favor of approving, what's it called again, Shauna?
It's the assessors UConn workshops.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain. I'm gonna take the course, so.
John?
I did.
I'm in favor. Am I voting the right way?
No. Nays, no nays. 3 ayes, 1 abstention. Linda, do you have anything else for us?
I do not.
Commissioner
anything else
Hawkins,
you'd like to say?
On that last
Linda.
motion, who did we have? On that last motion, who did we have proposing it and who did we have seconding it? Because we polled the commission, but we didn't have have someone move in the motion or a second, I don't think.
Wasn't it, if I'm correct, wasn't it you, Shauna?
I made the motion to put it on the agenda.
That's
Right, and then Shauna abstained from voting for the approval of the course. So we didn't get the motion or the second for the approval of the course itself. I'm
I make
sorry.
a motion that we approve the course.
I second the
Commissioner Galvin makes
emotion.
a motion. Second by
Thank you.
Commissioner Subso.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank
Should be
you.
all set now.
There, Joe, you have the 3-0, right?
I
And one
do. Thank you,
abstention.
Commissioner Hawkins. And one abstention, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you to Commissioner Hawkins. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Linda, anything else?
No, I have nothing else.
Vicky, you good?
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, commissioners? Everybody good?
Yep, good.
Everything
make a
looks
motion
good,
to
Commissioner
adjourn.
Hawkins.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Everybody have a wonderful